Welcome to Vulnerability, Introspection and Growth, the podcast where we explore the beautiful, messy and transformative magic that happens when we dare to go within. I'm your host, Robin Harris, and in each episode we'll dive into real, honest stories from people who've faced their fears, embraced their vulnerabilities and discovered unexpected growth in their personal lives, careers, or businesses. This is a space for deep listening, open hearts, and soul-nourishing conversations. Because when we meet ourselves in our rawest moments, that's often where our greatest wisdom starts. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to another Vulnerability, Introspection and Growth episode. And today I have somebody with me who I've known for quite some time, but it's taken us a while to get this organised and booked in. But I am delighted to have with me today Louise McMilan. Welcome, Louise. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Robin. It's been a while getting us booked in, but I'm glad we got here in the end.
Oh, me too. I'm so looking forward to this conversation. And as always, I will start with a brief introduction. Louise is a personal development coach and inspirational speaker whose journey through some of life's toughest moments has shaped her into a powerful voice for change. After years of feeling lost, unheard, and held back by limiting self-beliefs and low self-confidence, Louise knows firsthand the toll that silencing yourself can take on your mental health, your career, and your relationships. So, as I say, very warm welcome, Louise. It's great to have you. I've just shared a little bit of the what of you, but I love to ask guests, who are you? So tell us a little bit about who is Louise.
Okay, so first I could totally say I'm the middle daughter. So if there's anybody ever listening that's a middle sibling, and all the same siblings, it's different if you've got mixed genders of siblings. But yeah, I'm the middle of three girls. Live in sunny Somerset, and yeah, my background has been in HR, which never probably come out. I've always had an interest in people, and one of the things I do as one of my hobbies is I help out at Girl Guides. So heavily involved in girl guiding throughout the years. So it's all about living to get the best out of people wherever I can be, and just trying to have a laugh along the way. That's kind of me, really, in a sum up.
I like that little add-on there. The having a laugh along the way fun is very much, I think, a part of well-being.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I think as we get into adults, I think our fun, it kind of changes, it evolves. But I think sometimes when you see the young children around and you're kind of just laughing carefree and you're going, I wish we as adults we can get back to that kind of fun that we had. Yeah.
I'm so with you on that. And the next question then, what makes your story relatable for others?
I always think that's a great question. And I think for me, I spent many years by not believing in myself. And I lost decades of self-loathing, which really did impact me. And I think it's something we don't talk about. We're beginning to talk about it more. But I still think there is so much to take apart and understand about our human mind, really, because I think that's mostly where it stems from. And that's why I think it resonates because, yeah, we don't talk about it enough and people are still scared to talk about it. But mental
Very
health.
much agree with you on that. Yes, fantastic. And who do you feel will gain the most from listening in?
There's two parts to my story which will come out as we're talking, no doubt. But for me, it's someone who has been suffering, doesn't believe in themselves, who I think that would resonate with. But also, I think someone if we get on to talk about my cancer journey, I think that will help as well. Anybody that's always fearful about getting any checks done, because I think that's important as well. So it resonate with two kind of people, but it could be the same person at the same time.
It could indeed.
Yeah.
And lastly, then, what do you hope people will take away from listening in today?
Self-belief in the fact that it's okay to to be themselves, to embrace their uniqueness. I absolutely love that phrase. We're all different. We're all supposed to be different, and just embrace being who you are. Yeah.
You are so speaking my language. Fantastic. And as you've just said, you spent years struggling with self loathing, with low self esteem.
Mhm.
And looking back, what do you think your younger self most needed to hear at that time?
It's partly that she was good enough. Um, Partly that she was liked. I think there's a different you kind of sometimes feel that you're put up with. Just, whether it be family, friends. I mean, you kind of know as you're older that your friends just didn't put up with you because if they didn't want to spend time with you, they wouldn't have done. But sometimes you don't always see that. But especially so in the workplace, that sometimes that recognition that you are doing well, you can do more, but also that you're liked as a human being. I think that can be sometimes what's missing, and I think that would have helped the younger me a lot more. But also to not believe everything everybody else says, and also how your mind works. It's easy. You could do a workshop, for example, and you can get, to 10 people, you get nine great feedback in, and you'll get one person that says something, and you focus on that one thing. And I think that's something that we would have been taught when we're younger, that and how that can be interpreted and how your mind works. I think that's a shame we don't still it's still not taught about how your mind works and how it can lead you into your own little narrative of what the world is like and what people are saying about you.
And that's so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that we do focus, but that is, as you say, the way that our mind is programmed to work. We are programmed to focus, well, to be have that negative bias
Yes.
because
Yeah.
our brain is designed to keep us safe. So it's on the
Yeah.
lookout for threat. But
Absolutely.
it hasn't really got the memo that we're in the 20th century now. That is not the kind of threat that we needed to look out for back in the hunter gatherer days, where we needed that boost of adrenaline and cortisol to take action, to run away, or to fight for our lives. And that isn't the response that we need for that one bit of feedback and for our mind to focus on that one bit of feedback and push all those nine comments aside.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think if we were explicitly taught that, then we could catch it and we could take action against that rather
Yes.
than feeling we have to take defensive action against the thing that we feel is a threat to us,
Yes.
i.e., the negative,
Yeah.
what we perceive as
Even
negative
negative. Yeah.
feedback or
Absolutely. Yeah.
criticism.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're also going in this change, aren't we? Because you say happened years ago, but also I think we're going into a change of a narrative into how perhaps our parents and grandparents were brought up and the changes that are happening in terms of everybody finding their voice and gone are the days where you would have just got a job and you would have stayed there till retirement. Now it's that thing of people want more from their life. And I don't think it's wanting more. I think it's about wanting to live their life in a way that's right for them, than what perhaps our ancestors did.
And I think perhaps there are more choices available to us, and we're
Mhm.
more aware of those
Yes,
choices because of the internet, social media, the way life has changed and evolved. There are just more options available because there are more jobs and more types of jobs.
absolutely. And the world is a smaller place compared to what perhaps, yeah, previous generations had it.
And we can work globally now.
Yeah.
So we can work in any country and be working remotely. So you could be pretty much anywhere in the world at the moment and we could
Yeah,
still
could
be
well be.
chatting. It might be the middle of
Absolutely.
the night in some places, but the potential is there that hadn't been there years before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's made everything so more accessible, which is great.
And speaking still of social media in terms of that perceived threat, there's the whole online visibility and trolling and all those things that go on, which means that we're maybe feeling more of that criticism or
Yeah.
potential for that criticism.
Yeah, and I think it comes it's maybe a little bit harder because it's now coming from people we didn't know, whereas beforehand, the criticism, everything would be people we would have met, but known us personally. Whereas now it's come from people we don't know, and it's sometimes people, different types of people can go, well, I don't know them, so it doesn't matter. But other people go, but you don't know me, and you're, that could be really, really hurtful.
And feeling completely outside of your control. What can I do about it? If it's somebody I know, maybe we can speak or I can avoid them.
Absolutely.
But when
Absolutely.
it's online, that's not so easy.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it's also been read by so many other people.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where that manifests even more, isn't it? Is the fact that that can be read. Whereas a comment years ago, you would hear it and feel it, and it might have been just in an office where there might have been four other people in, and you go, okay, if they said things you didn't know, but people can physically see the comments on social
Yes.
media.
Yeah. And they might know other people who know you and would say, oh, no, no, that's not true about Louise. That was
Yeah,
just one person's opinion.
yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
You did mention your breast cancer earlier,
Yes,
and you've said before that that experience helped you to see yourself differently.
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what shifted during that time for you?
Okay, well, if I just give you a little bit of background where I was before I had the cancer diagnosis, because about 6 months beforehand, I was in a really bad place with my mental health. I had been diagnosed with my depression coming back, and I'd spiraled into a really low place where I kept on going into work because to me, not going to work was failure. So I didn't want to do that. But I had agreed that that Christmas period, I would take that time off of work. And I remember thinking, I can't carry on like this. I don't know what to do, don't know what to change. And I questioned even if I wanted to be here anymore. And so that I think really that thing of I don't know if I can carry on. I just don't want this. But I kind of tried to rebuild myself up slowly over the months, and just to sort of cut that sort of journey short, it would have been about June time that I was diagnosed with the breast cancer, and I realised I wanted to live. So that was the first thought was this is not going to beat me. And then I think what changed the most was people's comments and the way I was not treated 100%, but just things around me changed. And it felt like a lot of pressure was off, that I could just concentrate on my cancer journey. And then whilst going through my after my first chemo, a couple of weeks later, I had appendicitis, which everyone kept saying they thought it was the side effects from my chemo. So I wasn't being heard, even though I kept saying I'm in real agony here. And it took a couple of weeks before, in the end, I said I'm going to the doctor. And of course, I didn't know at the time, but we did find out was that my appendix had burst, and therefore it was in an abscess. So it was all stuck to my bowel and my colon. So I had to have major emergency surgery. I was in intensive care for 48 hours. My hair was now falling out because of the chemo, had to have a blood transfusion. And I was getting messages in from friends, but also ex-HR colleagues that I hadn't seen for months or years even, just sending messages to say that he'd heard. And I remember my parents come to see me one day, and I got a bit emotional. My mum saying, people do like me. And she said, well, of course they like you. And it was that kind of realization that I am liked, I am not just tolerated. And that helped. And then just going through the rest of that journey, I decided to go bold. I wasn't going to wear my wig that I bought. I decided, and it was the first thing for me in my immediate family that I had done first. Nobody, and nobody else had done. So, I was never going to be the first to go to school, never be the first to finish school, drive a car, buy a house, get married, or any of those. If I, some of those things I've done, I hadn't done. Um, so, there was nobody in my family could tell me this is what you ought to be doing. And when comments were said, I was going, no, this is my cancer journey. I'm going to do it my way because there was no benchmark that I felt that I had to adhere to. And it was so liberating. And I think from there it was like, no, I can do this. I am good enough and I am strong enough. And it just made me look at myself differently in terms of my own capabilities, my own strength. I was told by people beforehand how resilient I was. Well, there's nothing going through this that didn't show really how resilient I am still, not just I was, I am. And from that, I kind of fell back. I know I'm going to say it sounds silly because people think it's a silly thing to say, but it's not, and we shouldn't say it's silly. That I actually loved who I am. And we have that saying growing up was, oh, they love themselves, though it's a thing of because they show off or anything else. And that phrase is kind of looked at as a negative, and it shouldn't be. Before we could sort of love anybody else, I think we've got to love who we are as a person. And that took me on a whole road of development, insight, and really understanding who Louise was rather than who Louise is perceived to be. And yes, I still wear different hats, but those hats aren't changing as much as they ever used to. So the HR career hat, the daughter hat, the sister hat, all those. Yeah, there's little hats you wear, but they are little tiny, not big change of hats.
And I think that's natural, isn't it? We are bringing out different aspects of our personality depending on the situation in which we're in, even if we're
Yeah.
with the same people. Because if I socialize with my work crew, I'm going to be different in the social arena than I would be at work. Because we are,
Yes.
aren't we? Have to be very professional. Well, depending on what your role is, you are
Yeah,
professional to a degree anyway in the
absolutely.
workplace. And there are things that you do or wear or how you behave that are different from when you're socializing. And I
Yes.
often think as long as we are sticking with the core of who I am, and I'm reasonably clear on that, and my
Yes.
values and who I want to be, then I have flexibility. I can bring out more of my, if people use the colours, social yellow aspect when
Yeah.
I'm out, out, as we now
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
after the lockdown days, versus when I'm at work where I might be using more red or that kind of directing kind of energy or thoughtful energy or connecting energy. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but we have come to look at it as a bad thing, haven't we?
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
worry, oh, I'm being a different person here versus where I'm over here. But if that's still being who you are and still being true to yourself, that's absolutely fine. It's just different aspects of your character that come out
Yeah.
depending on the situation. But going back, and I'm kind of meant to pick up on this earlier when you were saying about how sometimes we think, oh, well, they have to like me.
Mhm.
They're my family. Of course, they're going to have to like me and accept me, and
Yeah.
siblings play with me or whatever. But the hearing it for real when people don't have to say it, like you were saying, colleagues that you hadn't seen in a long time reaching out to you, taking that time and that effort to say, hey, Louise, I'm here, I'm thinking of you,
Yeah.
hope you're doing okay. It really does when you're in that, particularly when you're in that low place, and it's that contrast between how I'm feeling and, oh, they are actually thinking of me and caring about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It does. It makes it so sometimes people don't know what to say, but sometimes just say, just I'm thinking of you, just because yeah, it can mean so much.
Because it's not about having the right words. We worry so much about, well, I have to say the right thing. And I work
Yeah.
quite a lot in grief and loss. And there's a huge taboo around that where I've actually literally heard of people crossing the street.
Yes.
Really,
Yeah. I
I
have.
didn't think people wouldn't really do that, would they? But I've heard from people that I've worked with that, yeah, they have. They've crossed the street. They've pretended they didn't know I was there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's
Other
hurtful.
side of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I remember when I was going for my cancer treatment, it was just after I was diagnosed. There was a lovely lady for a craft club I belonged to, and she'd had breast cancer. And when I first met her, she had a brain tumor. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us. But she sent me a text message, and she said, "You'd think of all people I would know what to say, but I don't." And that really hit home because you don't know what to say when it's other people. You just kind of when you're going through it, you're going through it, and you don't mind what some to a certain degree what people say. Sometimes people say things you kind of go in, really, and you guess that with grief as well. But I thought that was just so honest, and that's something I kind of followed up afterwards of going, I don't know what to say, but I want you to know I'm here for you. It's and that's just or I'm thinking of you. That's sometimes all that needs to be said, but people think there needs to be a dialogue, that yeah.
Yeah, I really think it is just the I'm here. If you want to talk, if you don't want to talk, I'm here. Anything I can do, ask me. And also, I've got a colleague that I run a bereavement peer support group with, and she's always saying, just be there, just say, I'm here if you need to talk, and if there's anything that I can do, and then follow that up with suggestions that you can follow through with. So
Yes, yeah,
the same for somebody, maybe they've just come out of hospital or they're going through chemo or something. Do you need me to shop? Do you need me to look after, walk your dog
yeah.
today or this week?
Yeah. Or even, do you just want to come and sit in my lounge or out in my garden for, the afternoon for a couple of hours? Bring your book. Because some people think, oh, you've got to talk. Well, I remember I had a friend, she goes, bring your book you're reading and we'll just sit out in the garden. I'll read my book, you read your book. Because then you're not on your own, you're doing something, but you're not, being left like you're on your own or something. And that was just nice because you didn't feel like you had to talk. Because some people, oh, I want you to talk, I want to tell me what's going on. And sometimes you don't, sometimes you go, I just need to sit and just be comfortable but then you don't always want to be on your own.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, just having that company.
absolutely. And that's the thing is that we don't want to trouble people nowadays because people we perceive people are busy. So we don't trouble them and then it's so we don't make that time and you get your energy from being around people and you don't always have to be doing something with them. You just need to be in that presence. And it's a bit like the phone ring. I always say to my friends, it's great when we talk on the phone and it's a proper dialogue and you can giggle and you can hear the other person giggling rather than keep text messaging all the time. And that's a nice way to get into it. But sometimes just hearing their voice is comforting.
Voice notes are nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes rather than text messages. Like you say,
Yeah.
just to hear, because you can hear in their tone
Yes.
rather than a
Absolutely.
text message, which can be quite flat.
Absolutely. And also it's not always read properly, but also you read it how you are feeling at that moment in time. Whereas as a voice note, you can tell by the way they're saying things that, yeah, and it could lift you up. I've had friends do that. I've sent them voice notes. They've gone, that's just really picked me up today. That's meant the world. And, didn't have to respond back. It was just, I'm walking in the park and, I just thought of you. So I thought I'd just send you a voice note. I'm listening to the birds and you let their birds sing, and they're going, oh, I just need that little boost because whatever might be going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And moving on then, many people spend their lives trying to fit in with others, meet other people's expectations, as you've also mentioned. And you also talked, which I loved, about embracing your uniqueness. And the example that you gave about, well, nobody else has been on a cancer journey. I'm the first one in my family. That
Hmm.
liberating sense of, I don't have to do it the way they think I should or the way so and so did it. So I have to follow that path because everybody thinks that's the way to go.
Yeah.
So, what has embracing your uniqueness look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think for me, I don't tend to worry about what I'm wearing and how I'm dressing would fit in with friends. I'm very much more comfortable now with, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what I'm wearing. I might need to do a bit of a sense check, just so I've got the right, I don't like not having the right stuff. Um, but yeah, just being who I am. And I don't drink anymore. And there was still sometimes a little bit of a pressure of, oh, you don't want to have a drink. And I'm like, no. And I get to the stage sometimes, I'm like, oh, will you just stop asking? Do you know what I mean? Becoming a vegetarian, no one batted an eyelid apart from being told, what was it? My dad said, we're not going to do anything different. You're going to have it what everyone else is having. And that was fine. But that whole thing sometimes through my peer group of going, I'm happy to drive. I don't want to have an alcoholic drink. That's been a little bit more challenging. And I'm not doing it because I want to be unique. It's like, this doesn't fit with me anymore. So I'm not going to conform. I'm just going to be my unique self, and this is what I'm going to do. And I was away with lovely friends at the weekend who were talking about what's on TV, and they couldn't believe it that I don't pay for any TV programs. I don't pay for Netflix. I don't pay for Sky. I just have normal TV and Freeview. And they're like, well, what do you watch? I went, whatever's on TV that is thing to watch. And it's like, but I said, but if my TV broke, I don't know if I'd replace it because I'm not that bothered. So being unique to me can depend who I'm with and what I'm doing. And I use it as a reassurance because it's about bringing me to about who I am, not having to conform what everybody else is doing. Yeah. And if it's a case of, I don't tend to I don't do it as from an argumentative point of view. I try and get people to see a bigger picture than what they see. So I think I will sometimes say to people, oh, someone's not doing this. I said, but where's the expectation? Where did that come from? Is it your expectation, or did somebody say they were going to do it? So you're expecting it. And a lot of time people have expectations which nobody's agreed to, and they get annoyed and frustrated with everybody. But actually, that expectation is in here. It's not reality, but you're quick to complain, get frustrated and everything else because someone's not met it. Whereas now I just would have just put up with that, but now I'm like, no, I'm going to call people out. It sounds like a bit harsh, but it's not. It's just like kind of saying, hang on a minute, let's look at this, because I know I was told beforehand that I had high expectations of people, but that was what I was taught to expect from others. Whereas now I don't expect anything, and whatever will be will be. Yeah,
And it's not calling out in a bad way more. It's, I think of it more like shining a light on. Just, are
absolutely.
we aware that this is actually what's happening? Just to bring it out into the open, because then people are aware, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, we can have a laugh about it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that saying of when we make those assumptions, assume makes an ass out of you and me.
Yeah. Yeah. I always love that diagnosis. Yeah, that change. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do. There are so many unspoken kind of expectations that somebody will pick this up. It doesn't have to be me. Or I'll do something. This is one that I was reading about recently. I can't remember where, but they were talking about when we do something, we expect, even subconsciously, we expect something to come back in return.
Yeah.
So it might be I invite you out for coffee. Next time it's your turn.
Yes. Yeah.
But if that isn't made explicit, the other person might not have grown up with that same sense of somebody buys you coffee, you buy them coffee back.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
I do something for you, you do an equal,
Yeah.
but also what is equal? Because in my mind, what I've done may have been tiny, or it may
Yes.
have been huge. It took a lot for me to do that. And I then measure what you give back. Is it equal?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we get upset,
Yeah.
like you say.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that so often with people. That yeah, that whole perception and expectations is yeah.
All these things that are unspoken, where maybe we do actually need to make them more explicit.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that kind of so that's that whole thing, remembering that with that uniqueness bit is that don't expect, because what yeah, we're all different,
Yes.
so you do what's right for you and what you can do for others, but then that's they're unique, whatever they can do they will do back.
Yes. So giving ourselves permission to be unique also extends, hopefully, that permission to other people to be their unique selves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I went on a holiday at the beginning of July with my cousin, so first time we've been away as cousins. And I kind of said to her at the beginning, I live on my own, so, just tell me if my stuff's in the way. And she was, oh, don't worry about it. You do you. And our motto for the whole of that sort of 5 days we were away was you do you. And it was just so lovely just to sort of think I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to, you know, um, yeah, went out for the day and I didn't even put any makeup on. Now, weekend, my friends were with, God, we wouldn't have left the house without makeup on. Your friends, but my cousin, I was like, yeah, don't worry, don't, you're not going to know anybody, so you do you, kind of thing. It was so like it was kind of liberating in its own little way.
It can be liberating to do those kinds of things. I was attending a course once, and the trainer was saying that he had been on a course where somebody had said to him, you live in London, you need to expand your kind of how you engage with the edge of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
So I want each of you to get on a tube train, and as you approach every single stop, stand up, announce the name of the stop, and sit back down again. It's like, I'll do that. On the tube in London, they'll think I'm mad. They'll have me arrested. But they did it. And there were other things as well. Buy a weird and wacky massive hat in a charity shop and wear
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
so that you can push that comfort zone and be, I'm okay with being unique. And if I'm a bit wacky and weird, I'm going to embrace it. Because we
Yeah,
all have that side of ourselves that other people might go,
absolutely. And I think that's what used to stop me though. The sort of expression you did there years ago used to cut me and I go, oh no, that's not appropriate, this sort of thing. But yeah, just do that and yeah, be do something wacky. And some people won't think you're wacky. They're going, like you're one of us. Whereas other people are going, don't think that's right. And you're going, okay, that's fine. You may not be my people. Yeah.
also, I think maybe it plants a seed. It's okay to be wacky. It's okay
Yes.
to be weird. My husband says to me sometimes, I'm not weird, you're weird. And I go, thank you.
Yes, I used to hate it when somebody used to say to me, "You're weird," and you used to go, oh, "Okay." Now when people go, "You're weird," I'm going, "Great, thanks." Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah,
So, if somebody is listening into this conversation and they're maybe
mhm,
feeling a little bit stuck, maybe disconnected from their particular uniqueness or not feeling able
yeah,
to express it, maybe feeling they're not good enough, that wonderful phrase,
yeah.
what is one thing that you would love them to hear and to take away?
Um, I think when sometimes it's that whole thing of looking in that mirror and just saying to yourself, "I am good enough," and good enough by whose standard? And, because sometimes we have that thing of, I'm not good enough because someone said it 5 years ago and it's just stuck. And where are they in our life now? And if they are still in life, where would you want them in their life in the next 5 years? And if you didn't do that situation, whether it's a work colleague or I think, if I was to move on, you know, would I still have them as a outside of the work colleague, work friend? So that's what I would always say is just remind yourself who you are. So, and what matters to you, and think about if any who's saying to it, how much do you value what they're saying?
Goes
Yeah,
back to those expectations. Is it whose expectations are we trying to live up to? And do we know what their expectations actually are? Because that's good enough. What is enough?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and and I think we sometimes people don't always say you're not good enough, but because we've had people criticize or pick us up on something, but never actually really said, if you did this, it would be even better. They've just said, I don't like that. Or I always use an example. I remember junior school, I drew something and my teacher looked in my book and there was a few classes and I remember he ridiculed my drawing. So from there on, I always said, I'm not very artistic. Okay, I can't remember whether I was drawing a car or I think the police were in, so I can't remember if I was trying to draw a police car or a police horse. I don't know. But doesn't mean I'm not now. I know I am quite creative and artistic, but it's just not hand drawing, and it's that thing of that embarrassment about ridiculing. Instead of saying, "Oh, I've had a really good go," perhaps next time don't rush it, or try and use this kind of pencil or something to make it easier so you could rub it out if it's not right. That may have worked better than rather than all I remember. And he might have said that, but I just remember being embarrassed and ridiculed and probably didn't realize at the time, but looking back, probably a bit humiliated. And therefore, that's why you always kind of go along that, oh, that's not good enough because someone has said something. But then it was based on, yeah, we're all trying to get everybody to climb the same tree, aren't we? And we're not, we can't all do it. It's that lovely picture that they have right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But that sense of ridicule really sticks, doesn't it? It's not something we can easily just dismiss and move past, particularly when we're young and impressionable and we just take it all in and just, oh, well, they're an adult. They know more than I do. They must be
Absolutely.
right. I must be
Yes.
useless.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Louise. We're out of time,
Oh my
but
gosh, that went by quick.
I know it does, doesn't it? I'm sure there are many, many people who are watching today and thinking, gosh, I really resonate with what Louise is sharing there.
Mhm.
I'd love to connect,
Yeah.
follow on social media, find you on your website or whatever. Can you share where the best places are to connect with you?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. They're the social media I tend to use most often. So you can find me on there. Both of them as my name as the user, account details, whatever they are. I can't remember what they're called on Instagram. And also you can follow me on my website and find out some more information on there. And again, that's all about my name. And just the spelling of Macmillan is Mcmilan. Very unusual spelling of Macmillan.
So wonderful. Thank you. And as always, I will put all of those details in the link in the notes below this video so that you can just easily find Louise and connect with her. So thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This podcast will be winding down because things are evolving here at Wild and something new and exciting is coming in the pipeline, but it'll still be on the same channel. So I will be posting more about that in due course. Do stay in touch and watch out for that news. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Vulnerability, Introspection and Growth. I hope it's given you a moment to breathe, reflect, and perhaps even see your own story with a little more compassion. If you found this conversation meaningful, I'd love it if you'd share, subscribe, or leave a review. It helps others find their way here too. Until next time, take gentle care, and remember, the journey inwards is where the real growth begins.